Welcome to My History Verified with your host, Lenora. I am so happy that you are here with me for this. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Okay, welcome back. We are on part 3 of Family Relationships and Pedigrees. We will be going over and finishing up on taking our understanding of family relationships, locations geographically within the United States and possibly abroad, and then taking that information and beginning to add it to our personal family tree. I want you to get familiar with how a family tree looks on paper and how it would look online. I want you to grasp the idea that your ancestor could have been reclassified based on skin color, which is race, or according to their ethnicity. Remember in part 2, I spoke about the Indian wars that occurred because the colonizers wanted the Aboriginal inhabitants' land? As a result, many Americans, Indians, and their descendants may have died as a result of those wars. And they may have experienced displacement and reclassification. Now, a universal concept for anyone that resides in a particular location can be described as Aboriginal, immigrant, alien, international, slave, indentured, servitude, convict, colonizer, settler, foreigner, freedman, or free men. Therefore, gripping the concept of the devastation of the wars over the Northeast and Southeast Aboriginal Indigenous Amerindian land split the Indian nations to pieces. There are treaties and land patents that govern the very land we live upon today. Since we have knowledge of family relationships, the wars that govern our land, we can quickly move into the start of inputting data, that is, your family members, in your tree. Let's get started building your tree. Don't forget that your family tree line of ancestors could be named family tree, lineage, pedigree, tribe, clan, band, ancestry, genealogy, family, breeding, origin, descent, birth, extraction, blood, stock, parentage, strain, line, bloodline, house, hereditary, relations, race, succession, relatives, kin, kindred, and hierarchy. No matter the terminology, it all directs you to the family tree line of ancestors. There are 2 directions that your family tree can go: up and down, side to side. Horizontal is actually from left to right. A vertical tree, as in the orange and black one here on the panel, can start from bottom to top. Here is top to bottom. Your pedigree or your lineage fits into those boxes to help build your tree and each box is actually considered to be a branch, a leaf in the tree. The leaves keep growing until it is a branch, and those branches continue until they are a huge tree. The growth of the tree, you're building your tree. Here you have the horizontal tree blown up larger so that you can see it, and the vertical family tree. Where in the world, at least in the United States, could your ancestors have been? I'll answer that for you. Anywhere. While you are looking for the whereabouts of your ancestors, you may discover that they didn't live in one place or location. In fact, you will learn a lot of things that will make you laugh, cry, or become angry with the information you find. So prepare yourself. Since we are on location, let's narrow down your continent to the United States, originally known as Turtle Island, then the British 13 colonies, and now again America. But if you get into the specialties of our history, there are people that know that America was named something totally different prior to. All right. I don't want to get into that because I am not briefed on that. So, do find the person that specializes in the pre colonial territories of the now United States of America. There are 50 states and Washington, D.C. of the United States. The last two states to join the Union were Alaska, which is the 49th state, and Hawaii, the 50th state. Both joined in 1959. Washington, D.C. is a federal district under the authority of Congress. Local governments is run by a mayor and 13-member city council. Get familiar with the 50 states, know its location geographically, where your ancestors could have been at any given time or year within their life. During your ancestors' lifespan, they could have been anywhere in the world. We know that different countries owned different land within what is now the United States, including Spain, Britain, and a few others. Know the years of the Indian Wars. Know the years of your, try to think in time frame or years when we're placing our ancestors at specific locations and different times within their existence on Earth. Take a look at this map and the connectivity of states within this continent. This is how the maps looked in the 70s. Utilize maps for your genealogy and ancestry research. Don't forget the southwest coast. Many of the indigenous live there as well, and people of all races migrated west throughout the land, removal acts of war and treaty ownership. There were a many agents headed west for Indian removal, land possession, and gold. During this time, the land taken from the indigenous created wealth for the colonizer and the settlers. Soon afterwards, the land was conquered. After land has been taken, wars have been won, flags are flown to show the conquering of that land, thus creating the 50 states. Having introduced you to such a brief history lesson, I want you to read and research on your own your and the world history. Study your national history. Specifically, study the Indian Wars of the North and East Coast of the United States. Know your state and local history. Know the islands of the world and their history. Study the transatlantic slave trade in the United States and going out of the United States. All right, I think I'm ready to start working on the tree now. Now, we know that there are different methods of storing our family relationships within a tree. It can be electronic online. It can be a download where you have a CD-ROM and or again a download from an online website, or just old-fashioned paper and pen. You can go to familysearch.org and print this family tree and begin working by inputting you as the first person within your tree. This is an Ancestry horizontal tree. And as you can see, I entered my dad first. It actually should be me. I don't know what happened, so I'm going to fix that later on. But as you can see, it says my dad living. And there's times that you start a tree like this. It doesn't necessarily have to be you. You could be working on someone else's tree and start with them. So this tree, I started on my history verified tree. You see my dad, it says living, and then test daddy, a year of birth, and it states still living. There's nothing indicated for the mother. And then there's the ancestry vertical tree, and this one is going from bottom up, and you can see that in pink, that means that that's a female. And to the right, that is a female. To the left, that is a male. And then there's no information for the mom, who her parents are, but there's a dad for the dad. So I'm going to go ahead and recap. And hopefully you are starting your tree. The recap begins with us knowing that there are 4,096 ancestors, and this number decreases as a parent or foreelder passes away. Or, no, actually, we have 4,096 ancestors. 6 of them could be still living, and that would include your mom and your dad, your grandmother, on your mother's side, your grandmother and grandfather on your mother's side, and grandmother and grandfather on your father's side. So that would be the 6. So usually you'll hear me refer to 4090, which would be deceased ancestors, and then a possibility of 6 living ancestors. We have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great grandparents, 16 second great grandparents, 13, actually, no, I'm sorry, 32 third great grandparents, 64 fourth great grandparents, 128 fifth great grandparents, 256 sixth great grandparents, 512 seventh great grandparents, 1024 eighth great grandparents, 2048 ninth great grandparents, and a total of 4,096 10th great grandparents. I want you to get out of the mindset that there are only probably 8 to 16 great grandparents in total, meaning because you don't have a concept that that number increases as time goes backwards. We have a tendency of only recognizing those who we know. So once you come out of that box of thinking that who you see is all there is, that is not true. Next, we also went over demographic information. So if you have a birth certificate or any other information on that document, look for full name, last and first address, city, state, zip code, county, township, parish, borough, village, and town, gender, marital status, education, occupation, income, homeowner, rent, dependents, next of kin, and that would be whether someone is a homeowner or a renter, and you will see that on censuses as well. Another example of the sample birth and death certificate, please review them. Please visit my shop at www.myhistoryverified.com, where you can purchase my Ancestry and Genealogy research ebook.